Welcome back to Glowing Card Gaming. Another debunked video watching Modtricca. And now, your host, Adam. Hey everybody, back. I know it's really late to get this one out, so I do kind of want to make this quick, so we're just going to head right into it. Let me pause this, and yeah, let's do the screen capture. So we have some to make up because I was on vacation. Remember, this is the Halloween stuff. This should be really cool. I do remember that ad being on TV, actual TV. So, interesting times.
Each sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars Return of the Jedi collection.
That's cool.
Yes, sir. Modtricca, back up in this thing, man. Today,
I will say I really like the overlay there of the schedule, and it's really Modtricca's, spooktacular October thing. Corey Kenshin does the same thing. Especially, I think he does it with Spooky Scary Sunday. Like, there'll be a weird later, sports. Now, Spooky Scary Sunday, or whatever it is. But I just really like that. It looks like, for Corey Kenshin, it looks like a public access TV channel most of the time. So I just think that's really cool when they do those types of things. Oh, just a special touch.
breaking down some of the most mysterious videos on the internet. But before we hop into that, go ahead and spam that like button right now so we can run the numbers up on the algorithm. And you ain't even got to think about it later. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that sub button. To sub up, join the family. This is the most lit and active community on YouTube.
Be sure to do that for me too.
Said, guys, let's hop straight into the video.
Empecé a ver una cara en las rocas, pero lo más importante es que adentro de las caras aprecio ver dos piernitas que no sé si lo logran ver. No sé si logran ver ahí adentro de ese ojo. Veo a dos piernitas. Parecieran.
Looks like there's somebody standing in the eye. Maybe.
A ver si se puede apreciar ahí. Empecé a ver una cara en las rocas, pero lo más importante es que adentro de las caras aprecio ver dos piernitas que no sé si lo logran ver.
Well, it's still there. But it's like in the same exact spot it was during the day.
Ver ahí adentro de ese ojo.
Right.
Veo a dos
Did it go tonight, or am I crazy?
Parecieran. A ver si se puede apreciar.
Does it move? Does it disappear?
I didn't really see it moving at all, so it could just be an optical illusion, but I could be wrong about that, because whatever
I was thinking the same
exactly
thing.
Like Mr. Miyagi.
All right, I don't really even know how to put this, but does anyone know anything about this massive energy wave that seems to be emanating from Antarctica? There's a video going around as of yesterday, October 12th, showing this powerful, huge circular pulse of energy, this wave that seems to be stemming from Antarctica, stretching like allegedly 6,000 miles north over Australia. It looks insanely powerful, and it is very odd, and I am trying.
So, if it's not a glitch in the radar, which it very well could be, if it's not, what is it, a radio wave? And how much damage can that? What are they doing? Are they playing, the Beatles for everybody in Australia? Are people, subconsciously hearing the Beatles and then singing it? I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, maybe they're broadcasting, and maybe it's a test to see if they can broadcast commercials directly into your brain.
Trying to get more information. I mean, some people say it's just a glitch. Some people say it's some sort of pressure system. Others are convinced it's something else entirely. We do know that Antarctica definitely has a very mysterious past. So whatever it is, it's strange.
That's it?
But if anyone knows anything, or you've seen...
Has anybody else on the stream? Oh, hold on. I got to put the multi-stream here for the chat. Anybody else in here been impressed with the videos we've seen so far. I have not been.
This actual data yourself, can you please tag someone or comment below with more information about it, because it's really odd.
I saw a video from another creator that said that this could be due to a company called the Modtricca Corporation running tests on the satellite to see how hackable it is. And that same company also partnered with Harper a couple months ago for a different project, so you can put two and two together.
I'm not tripping, right? Y'all can see that too? This right here, y'all can, hold on. Y'all can see that too, right?
It's very faint, but from what I can see, it kind of looks like an Anunnaki mothership on low power.
Oh.
This is terrifying.
It took me a minute to see it. But it could be... I don't know. It could be... I'm reading what's getting ready to come up. I mean, again, it could be an edit, especially with the difficulty of that to see. Because at first I was like, what are we looking at? I don't even know. And then all of a sudden it's big time. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden you see it, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, for debunking purposes, there's always the edit. It's possible. But it could be a smudge on the guy's camera, too, to be perfectly honest.
In the UK, they're starting to label food with a carbon score. Like this sandwich, eating this uses 8.1% of your daily dietary carbon allowance. And the UK has been trying to get this personal carbon allowances passed since 2008. The government decides how much carbon you are allowed to spend every day in order to fight climate change, along with carbon passports that will tell each traveler how much carbon they are allowed to use each year. In other words, how much they're allowed to travel. And all of this is happening right after the UK has rolled out digital IDs mandatory to work. My guess is that digital ID will go in a digital wallet where you might also keep your carbon passport and track your carbon personal allowance.
It's starting to feel like the...
Not only that, but it'll be in a digital wallet where your digital pay will be, whether you can keep access to that to buy or sell anything is also there.
UK is the new testing grounds for the New World Order. I could physically never abide by this because if one sandwich is 8% of your daily allowance, then my daily allowance would be maxed out by breakfast time.
So here's that video from the other night that went viral on here. And you can see I first show the whole coastline so people have a perspective. And then I zoom in on the orb, which was 3 to 5 times brighter than any star in the sky. And look what goes above it. Look what flies by. That triangular craft is moving at least 5 times faster than any jet. So I look at the jets out here all the time. They move, 450 miles an hour, 500 miles an hour. They take minutes to crawl across the sky. This thing took seconds. I've never seen anything like it.
At first I thought it was an airplane, but airplanes should have flashing red and blue lights. This might be a TR-3B.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
You have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And
I do believe we're just at the beginning of the tokenization of all assets.
When there's somebody who's new in their role, a new prime minister, I will spend time. Generally, what I try to do is spend time before they win. It's just spending time with them and just saying, you have access to whatever information you need.
And substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations.
It's actually terrifying that this is the person who's in charge of one of the largest financial institutions in the world. And it's bad when you make Bill Gates seem like Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I actually don't have much more to say than that about this man telling this. But if you caught any of the stream last night, I was talking about the end times and the Antichrist rising out of the temple, buying and not being able to buy or sell anything without taking the mark. All of this is in line with that. And you can see the playbook unfolding. It's creepy.
Have you ever had a conversation with someone and then later found out there was no one actually there?
This is the second video we've seen this way. There was another video that I reviewed before I went on vacation where a guy was outside of his home and a guy asked directions to like some park and he gave the guy directions. And then he went inside and watched the security footage from his own security package camera on the outside of him talking to no one.
Well, that's what happened in this video. This guy you see here is working well below ground in a mine when suddenly he's approached what you can't see someone, but he's talking to someone, and it looks like he's giving this person directions or something. But as this conversation continues, you see that he'll actually reach his hand out to shake this person's hand before he walks on. Now, was this a ghost or a demon that he encountered? Or could it be someone from a parallel universe or another dimension that's blending with ours? Are they evil or helpful? Leave your thoughts in the comments.
Does that video look weird? I mean, it's weird that he's talking to no one.
A parallel universe or another dimension.
But when he's moving,
that's blending with
does it
ours?
seem a little glitchy?
Are they evil?
Yeah,
or
look at
another
his
dimension
handshake in his
that's
leg.
blending with ours? Are they evil
Yeah, it looks weird.
or helpful? Leave your thoughts in the comments. This is Unanswered Universe.
He definitely thought he was having a conversation with somebody. I'm not sure if it was a ghost or the lack of oxygen going to his brain from working in the mines for too long. Either way, it's time to reach.
I almost think that was edited. It just looks like the video wasn't shot. I mean, it almost looks like the man was overlaid onto a green screen to me.
Walmart announced a partnership with OpenAI. Shoppers will be able to use ChatGPT to make purchases. The company hopes to make the shopping experience a little more proactive than reactive. Eventually, the software will learn to anticipate your needs at the store. The company has not released specific terms of the partnership, including when it will be available for shoppers.
If they really wanted to make the shopping experience better for customers, then this definitely isn't the way, because if I have to sit there and argue with ChatGPT over a pint of Haagen-Dazs and a checkout line, I'm never coming back to that store.
All the locusts. I wouldn't say this is a sign. I've seen bugs this thick, and even thicker than this, at night, attracted to lights. These look like moths, or... I mean, it kind of looks like locusts. What would be more of a sign is if the air is so thick that it's actually noon. Are those birds? Maybe those are birds. Because some of them are sitting on the power lines, yeah.
Animals can sense things that we can't, so if I see a bunch of birds scrambling like this, first I'm going to move my car, then I'm taking cover.
This is a supposed image of a jinn that was haunting a school in Malaysia, and the entire school was hit by a wave of mass possession that included 100 teachers and students. In April 2016, students in SPM Penggalan Shepa 2, a secondary school in Kelantan, Malaysia, began seeing a tall black figure lurking around the classrooms and hallways. And look at this cheeky just peeking behind the wall. So cheeky, you. Soon after, everyone who saw this black figure would start screaming, waving their arms around wildly, or falling into a trance. Over the course of a week, at least 50 students and 11 teachers were overcome by these hysterical fits. Like even teachers, like they were on the ground flailing about in a possessed state. I imagine coming into class the next day would be very awkward. Witnesses at this mass possession described feeling a heavy presence trying to enter their bodies. And one teacher said her arms went numb, as if someone invisible was clinging onto her. The situation got so out of hand that even the school had to close down, and Islamic healers were brought in to perform mass exorcisms.
Well, again, involvement of the church. I'm always for that. The mass possession is a lot more difficult there have been psychological studies done on when things happen en masse to large groups like this. There have been ones where people, it was like a laughing sickness, they called it. So like 1 or 2 students started laughing uncontrollably, and they couldn't stop for like 3 days. They laughed night and day. They couldn't go to sleep. They passed out of pure exhaustion like almost 3 days later. And while they were going through that process, it seemed to be like a cold or a flu, that other students started getting that laughing. So it was like this slow wave that slowly took over most of the people. Not everyone got it, but a lot of people did, and then they all, they just lost so much energy, and they'd been up for so long, they just started passing out. When they woke up after that, they were fine again, but it's weird. It's a weird thing that is documented. This happened. And there's been a couple of ones in, I don't know if it's Germany or Switzerland or somewhere like that, where they had uncontrollable dancing, of all things. And they had it was almost the same thing where they couldn't stop dancing for days, and then they finally passed out. And once they passed out, and woke back up again. And it was the same thing. There was 1 or 2 people that just started dancing that couldn't stop and went on for those days, and it slowly caught to everybody else. Again, documented. But psychologists and maybe Freud or somebody came up with the idea, that something weird happened to the first 1 or 2, but then psychologically everybody else gave them themselves. They kept thinking about it and thinking they were going to get it until they finally, in their own mind, made it happen, and their mind made it real to them. So then, like, it basically was kind of like a flu or cold, a mental one that just went throughout. And it's the same thing here. Whether it's truly possession or a mental disease, you be the judge.
Rituals. But what exactly happened? Was it actually a jinn attack? It could be, or it could be a collective psychological phenomenon often cited as mass hysteria, which usually occurs in very highly stressful environments like a school in the most religious state in Malaysia, Kelantan. Perhaps it was a collective manifestation of built-up stress, and these students and teachers, not knowing how to express that, started to snap, screaming and shouting to release this built-up tension. A sort of psychological experience, not so much a demonic one. But alas, science has yet to answer all of these questions. In fact, there are other jinn attacks around the world that have yet to be, debunked. And if you would like to hear these other stories, check out my recent YouTube video where I dive into this fascinating entity known as the jinn.
I wouldn't care if it was a jinn or mass hysteria. I just know if I went to this school, I would be a 4th grade dropout after this.
What you're seeing is the absolute latest in humanoid robots. This is the Figure 3. And I gotta be honest, robot development is officially starting to feel a little bit like Black Mirror. Figure 3 is 5'8".
Okay. If any of you did not catch the stream last night, we've already talked about the different components that are coming together. In Revelation, John talked about what he saw in heaven and the visions that he was given. One of them is that the people had built this statue. This is what's going to become the Antichrist. The statue, then the people had the power to give it life. So, robot wasn't a word back then. So he's trying to describe what he's seeing, and the closest word that he knows is statue. So he uses that, and then he sees that it comes to life and it moves on its own. So there was a robot, it's powered by electricity, that will rise up out of the temple, proclaim itself God. Everything's getting set up. And if you don't take the mark, they'll kill you. And you can't buy or sell anything. So all the things are going to be stacked against you. I think a lot of people are going to do it because of all of those pressures and things. They're just going to give in. And it's not easy to resist. I'm worried about everybody. So stay strong, go to church, pray, all of those things, because you're looking at it coming along in live, real time.
134 pounds and engineered to think and act like a human. Now, this version was specifically designed for in-home use. So it can do laundry, wash dishes, serve drinks, deliver packages. It even charges wirelessly through its feet. It kind of just stands creepily on that charging pad until it wakes up and starts doing more chores. Now, 12,000 people are going to have one of these in their home in the next 12 months. 100,000 people will have one in the next 4 years. It's pretty wild. But as cool as it looks, the most interesting part about this is not the robot itself. The most interesting part is Figure's AI training system called Helix. Every Figure robot has a bunch of cameras and sensors in its face and both of its hands. So as it does more tasks, it's watching and learning from the world around it. But the learning isn't just to help the one robot doing it. The skills are feeding back to the global AI system, which automatically upskills the entire robot fleet. And you can see where this is going. Just like ChatGPT gets better the more people that use it, the more robots that do stuff in the world, the faster they all get smarter. What you're watching are the very early innings of another massive tech supercycle. And Black Mirror or not, we are officially entering the beginning of the robot age.
I would never get one of these robots, because sure, it might be able to run a load of laundry for you, but everything you say and do is getting live streamed directly to Palantir.
Let's talk about Will Ferrell. I found this next clip from an episode of SNL. He's the man in red.
Sell my soul for a hit song right now.
I am Lucifer. And I have heard your request, and it shall be granted. Do you, Milo Jenkins, truly wish to render your soul unto me in exchange for the success you crave?
Oh, yes, sir, I do. I mean, if I could have one hit song, I know it'd solve everything for me.
It shall be done.
Now, of course, people will say it's just entertainment, right? But I want you guys to keep in mind skits like this with The Rock, skits like this with Lady Gaga, and that last clip we saw with Will Ferrell all come from the same exact show. It seems like over the years they have poked fun at the most evil stuff. But again, it's just entertainment, right? It has nothing to do with putting the truth right in front of people's faces. Wake up.
I know it's just a skit, but he seemed a little too comfortable playing this role. It looks like he learned how to act at the Baphomet School of Performing Arts.
I don't know. About that part, at least.
I'm not really sure what this is, but if I saw this while I was hiking, I wouldn't stop to investigate. I would start running like a pit bull is chasing me.
What the heck happened in 1971?
I have a very powerful flashlight. I would stand back from that distance and light it up. What is it? I want to see it. Because it could be a coincidence and it's just the stone worn away in such a way it looks like a face inside that cave. Who knows? What did happen in 1971? Let's find out.
Productivity and hourly wages always went up together, but then in 1971, something happened. Wages began to stagnate while productivity has continued to go up, and that's just the start. The price of a Campbell soup can was 10 cents for the longest time, but since 1971, it has skyrocketed to now over $1.20 per can. And get this, before 1971, it took you around 2 years to save for a house, but now it takes 7. The top 1% of earners have continued to see their income grow since 1971, but the bottom 90% has not. And look how many countries have had a banking crisis since 1971. Since 1971, the U.S. national debt has gone completely vertical. Same with healthcare costs. And oddly enough, we've had a massive growth of administrators while the amount of physicians has stayed flat. And just look how the American diet has changed since 1971. Less beef and potatoes and way more corn and chicken. This one's crazy. Look at the global production of vegetable oil since 1971. Obesity among young children was 5% in 1971, but now it's over 20%. Even the number of prisoners has skyrocketed since 1971. Unfortunately, people are getting married later too. In 1971, the average age was around 23, but now it's closer to 30. The prices of electricity, food, and fruit have all dramatically gone up since 1971 too. In 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard, meaning the US dollar was no longer backed by gold. And since then, things have gotten a lot worse. What do you think about all this? And don't get me started on shrinkflation.
It seems pretty self-explanatory to me. Once Nixon ended the gold standard and everything switched to fiat currency, all the bankers started running amok and the whole focus shifted towards consumerism.
Contacting the devil or trying to summon Satan himself is a line that I don't think anyone should cross.
So, if you ever wonder why I say we should go back on the gold standard, watch that video.
matter who you are or what you're doing it for. And Sam and Colby did just that in front of millions and millions of people. If you don't know who these two are, they're some of the biggest YouTubers in the game. They go around the world trying to find the most haunted spots and trying to contact the spirits. And this time, they contacted the devil, and they themselves even said that they crossed the line. Check this out.
Like, worry about this? I'm very worried about this. You're not supposed to mess with this dark magic like this. And even if you don't believe, it could come back to bite you in the ass. And so I really want you to think about it before you do it. Because, like I said, like, with my faith and me, like, believing in Jesus and stuff, like, it makes me feel bad that my best friend would like put himself in a situation like this. So please be careful. But we've never crossed this line before. Just think about what you're doing.
So they do this really in-depth ritual, and Sam starts asking questions to Satan, and this woman is contacting the devil and replying on his behalf. And I think a lot of it is acting. I'm not going to lie to you, but God is real and the devil is real, and I don't think this is something you should do, because if you keep knocking on the devil's door long enough, one day he might answer. And
I don't have a lot to add to a lot of these videos. They're saying the same things that I'd be saying. So, yeah.
I don't think that's someone you want to reply from.
When a YouTuber wants to go viral, most of the time they'll just pull a crazy stunt or try to collab with a celebrity. Collabing with the devil himself is ludicrous.
It's very strange. All these men that were the inventors of the rockets and stuff, they're all very, very into the occult. So one guy, Jack Parsons.
So this is one thing I've said throughout the years is I think that ghosts, when you're seeing paranormal activity, that's probably satanic activity, not ghost activity. And also when you're seeing aliens or spacecraft, I also think that's demonic, because they had far superior knowledge. I mean, they were around for 1,000 years. Not only that, but they were with God, and they had they had more knowledge than humankind has. And so it's very easy, or it would be very easy to get that knowledge or share that knowledge if you're working with them.
Who is called America's rocket godfather. Basically, he's the one that started the rocket program in the United States. He was part of this organization called the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. He was basically underneath Aleister Crowley.
No way.
He had his own chapter in California. So Aleister Crowley, he joined the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, where he was trained in ceremonial magic. But this guy, Jack Parsons, he said that through the ceremonial magic and whatnot, him, just like others, like the Nazi Party, these Russian engineers, they all received this information about going to space and going to the stars from different entities.
Oh, come on.
They said it was never our knowledge. It was gifted to us. They called them like downloads and stuff. That was just a weird thing to me, this connection of like pretty much the same exact time all over the world these engineers were receiving these revelations from entities being like, you have to conquer space, conquer the stars, this is how you're going to do it. And they all built these rockets around the same time. Just crazy to me. I also discovered that Buzz Aldrin, along with a ton of astronauts, ton of directors, were all 33-degree Freemasons. And Buzz Aldrin, when he landed on the moon, with him, one of his belongings that he brought was a tiny little silk flag that was from the Freemason Scottish Rite movement, the 33-degree Masons. Super weird.
What are we doing?
Really weird thing. One of these test pads where they tested the Apollo missions was test pad number 33, and there's only one runway. Only one runway. It's not runway 1, not runway A. It's runway 33.
Why?
Super weird.
I don't get it, man. This is just beyond me. Hate it.
I've seen a lot of that Ninjas or Butterflies podcast. I would heavily recommend, if you haven't heard of it or watched it, go check it out.
It seems like almost everybody involved in the early days of rocketry and space exploration was either an occultist or a warlock. Makes the whole thing feel even more like a psyop.
So many of you confuse these airships with these dinky little blimps we have now. This was the construction of the Hindenburg. And a few cross-sections to show you the massive size and scale behind me. These airships were massive, able to carry large amounts of crew, material, explore the North Pole, as you see here with the Norge, the first people to actually explore the North Pole. That is one of the big benefits over these airships from the fixed-wing aircraft we have today. Exploration, free and easy travel, throughout this realm. You could set up these mooring stations here pretty much anywhere. And they were easily able to load and unload passengers right from the front hatch. Now I think these airships have been around a lot longer than they told us. Just looking at some of the detailed maps they had back then to what we have now. And now that we don't have that easy exploration option, the maps have drastically changed. It wasn't just amazing houseboats they were able to float down the rivers and waterways either.
This is like a castle.
They were able to have these airships dock on boats as well. Like I said, mooring stations could be built anywhere. You could even have the airships just land on the water themselves. And I don't need the NPCs in the comments talking about, oh, they go booming. The Hindenburg, it was blown up. It's dangerous. And take a look at the Hindenburg itself. If you actually bother researching it, see how false flaggy that looked. Again, this is all just my personal opinions, though. I just want you to question everything, friends. Until next time.
I feel like there's a lot more to the story of why we don't use these airships anymore besides the Hindenburg crash, because there's been numerous airplane crashes since then, and we still use them.
Yo, check this out. Whoa, check this out. Vegas. Dude, what? I have never seen anything like this before.
What, lightning?
What is going on? What? Wow. This is trippy.
If this is in Las Vegas, it could just be heat lightning. I just don't know why it's purple like this. It looks like the final scene in Ghostbusters when they were fighting Gozer.
It looks edited.
Maybe the fog is just making this video seem creepier than what it is, but it looks like the Wicked Witch of the West making a TikTok.
Ooh, that's a whole kid.
That's a whole kid.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Wild, isn't it?
Well,
that is super wild.
Honestly, this makes so much sense because there was a whole children's wing, correct, at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Yes.
Also, where they're standing is
also like when you look at when things are demonic like that, you gotta remember they're masters of lies, so they can show you something. Oh, kids were here. I'm gonna appear as a kid. Oh, your mom passed? I'm going to appear as your mom. I'm going to have her voice. I don't know if you should believe it. Just saying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
it's technically an open-air hallway, but that is where they would roll the patient's beds to get them to be able
fresh
to
air.
Fresh air.
Indeed. No, that is a very clear person.
Yeah.
That is, I would not even think it was a ghost. It would not occur to me that, oh, look, a ghost.
Yeah,
I'd be like, oh, look, there's somebody in the window. There's some kid in the window.
They said, I took this during a tour of Waverly Hills Sanatorium. There was no one in the window when I took this picture. Everyone was downstairs. The tour guide said it was the most amazing picture she's seen taken there ever. I agree. I think it is this is me talking, JT. I agree. I think it is the most amazing picture. It looks like a small child looking down at the people below. There were no children on the tour, it's worth noting. It's heartbreaking to think these poor little souls are alone there.
The fact that the kid is very isolated, it does not appear like anybody is up.
See, and if you think about it in a demonic way here, then this becomes even more creepy. Right? You start it's kind of fooling this woman into feeling sorry for this thing. And maybe, or somebody will feel sorry enough to go back and visit and try to release the soul or interact with it, and then maybe it follows them home. I don't know what can happen after that, but I know it's not good.
On that floor, which I believe this is the second floor?
This is second floor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so you would be able to tell. It's not high enough where it would cut off somebody.
If this photo is real, it's kind of sad that this little girl's soul is trapped in an abandoned sanatorium. Of all the places you can haunt, this has to be the worst. We need to build her a swing set or something.
Oxford researchers just confirmed what we feared. The internet, as we know it, is dying. Now that is the opening line of a post referencing this chart. It shows that for the first time ever, AI-generated news articles have now outnumbered those written by real humans. Only 5 years ago, this was near 100% human, 0% AI. But in 2022, when ChatGPT launched, everything changed. Now, as someone in the news space, this was pretty shocking, especially since the post then goes on to say that projections say 90% plus will be AI by next year. And to make it worse, quote, the real crisis is model collapse. When AI trains on AI-generated content, quality degrades like photocopying a photocopy, rare ideas disappear, everything converges into generic sameness. Sounds like some freaking dead internet theory type. So naturally, do some research, and turns out this wasn't from Oxford. Rather, an SEO company carrying out a study using AI to detect if an article was written by AI. Their own methodology says that many argue detecting AI is impossible or at best highly inaccurate. So that throws into question if this graph is even correct. But let's just say for a second it is. What the article also didn't include is the number of views each article had, because the total number of AI written articles is meaningless if no one is reading them. But what about the crisis of model collapse we were warned of if AI is trained on AI? Well, I went back to the original post, and lo and behold, I found a human AI expert who was worked at Meta, Uber, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and he said, quote, model collapse is widely considered not a real problem. He then lists the reasons why and provided research to back up his claim. Oh, and at this point, I am baffled. Everything this post told me was sus. But then, there's the kicker. I looked for who wrote it, and it wasn't a who. It's an it. Perplexity AI. Bro, how the is AI gonna fearmonger humans about AI? God. Here's the thing, just when I was about to wage war against the machines, I remembered, when you get hit by a car, you don't blame the car, you blame the driver. AI is not in the future, humans are.
I feel like his confusion sums up perfectly why they pushed artificial intelligence on us so hard.
I kind of agree.
We don't trust anything besides.
I kind of agree with that. It's not the person driving the car. It's us programming. And we've known for years, we've seen so many horror movies or action movies, Terminator, that kind of thing, that AI and robotics are going to be the end of humanity. And here we are still pursuing them, still creating them, making them better, improving them. I don't know if we've already hit the singularity or if we will. For those of you or on the stream that don't know what the singularity is, it's the point where AI becomes self-aware and alive, basically. Free thinking, free living being type of thing.
That's the mainstream media.
Throw back to when this bad bus driver helped save tons of people's lives literally just by living out one of his greatest dreams. You see, back in 1952, Albert Gunther was just driving along his usual route, crossing Tower Bridge in London, when he was suddenly shocked to see the road in front of him just start dropping away. As it turns out, someone had messed up big time and had somehow started opening the bridge with them still on it. Since they were already stuck in the middle, Albert realized that he had two choices really. He could either try going backwards but risk the bridge rising too fast, causing them to slip and crash, or he could try jumping the gap in the rising bridge with his double-decker bus. And with only a split second to make his decision, Albert, a former tank driver during World War II, didn't even hesitate to just instantly accelerate full speed and fly straight over the bridge into the air. Like a real-life action movie, his bus just gracefully soared over the gap and somehow actually landed on the other side right before it had fully risen. Because of Albert's actions, not a single one of his passengers were seriously injured except for himself with a broken leg. He was soon awarded a 10-pound bonus as well as a day off of work for his bravery and heroism. And he later said, "I'd always wanted to jump the bus over the gap, and I got a day off and a tenner for it to boot."
Albert Gunther might be the great.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it. I'm like, they gave him just $10 and a day off, or like $300, $300 a day. Come on, this guy needed like probably 2 weeks' pay and a week off, especially since he had a broken leg. You can't. You don't have enough other drivers to cover his route? Come on. Anyway, but I like his view on it. I always wanted to do that, and not only did I get to do that, I got rewarded for it.
Greatest bus driver of all time. If he jumped a double-decker over the London Bridge, he went full Evel Knievel. But that was the video, guys. Don't forget to...
All right, be sure to sub on Modtricca and myself, and also like his videos and my videos. That's all I got for you for tonight. I wanted to keep it short, sweet. I'm not going to be able to stream tomorrow. I don't know about Friday. If I do, I'm going to be trying to play more Hollow Knight at that time. So tune in Friday-ish, and we will see what happens. If I can play more Hollow Knight, maybe do another debunk video. I don't know. But we'll have fun whatever I do on stream. Okay, again, thank you guys for watching me, Adam, on Glowing Card Gaming. Until next time, be good to each other, and I'll see you then.